They looked like the perfect couple. To anyone who saw them, they were just another happy husband and wife, living a quiet, content life. He was hard-working, devoted to his family, and deeply in love with his wife. She, on the other hand, was charming, always smiling, and seemed to adore him. Friends and family believed they were inseparable, the kind of couple that made marriage look easy. But behind the smiles, behind the carefully curated image of a perfect home, there was something no one saw. A secret so dark that it would eventually shake everything to its core. It started with small things, the kind of issues every couple faces. Little disagreements over finances, time spent at work, or the stress of daily life. At first, they brushed it off. Every couple fights, right? That's normal. But something about these arguments was different. The tension didn't just fade away, it lingered. Slowly, the warmth in their home started to disappear, replaced by cold silence. He noticed the changes. She wasn't as affectionate as before. The way she looked at him wasn't the same. There was a distance between them that no words could bridge. He tried to fix things, suggesting vacations, date nights, anything to bring back what they had lost. But no matter what he did, she remained distant, as if she was mentally somewhere else. Then came the late-night phone calls. She'd step outside to talk, lowering her voice whenever he walked by. If he asked, she brushed it off. Just a friend, she'd say with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. The texts, too, became more frequent. She would turn her phone away whenever he was nearby, her fingers typing fast before she locked the screen. A gut feeling told him something was wrong, but he didn't want to believe it. Maybe he was just overthinking. But things kept getting worse. She stopped asking about his day. The little things she used to do, bringing him coffee in the morning, waiting up for him when he worked late, those things disappeared. Instead, she seemed distracted, always lost in thought. Sometimes, he'd catch her staring at him, but there was something unsettling in her gaze. Something calculating. Then, accidents started happening. Small at first. A step left wet just before he walked down. A broken piece of glass in his food. He laughed it off. I must be clumsy, he told himself. But it kept happening. One day, his car brakes felt off. He had them checked. Nothing seemed wrong. Maybe it was just wear and tear. Maybe it was all in his head. But deep down, something told him to be careful. She had thought about it before. A passing thought, a dark whisper in the back of her mind. But she had always pushed it away. That was until the resentment grew, twisting into something else, something dangerous. She couldn't stand the sight of him anymore. The sound of his voice, his presence in the house, the way he still looked at her like nothing had changed. It made her feel trapped, suffocated. Divorce? No. That wasn't an option. She had too much to lose. The house, the money, the comfortable life she had built, she wouldn't walk away with nothing. And she knew him too well. He wouldn't make it easy. He was too kind, too forgiving. He would try to fix things, beg her to stay, promise to change. But she didn't want him to change. She wanted him gone. Permanently. The first time she allowed herself to truly consider it, a thrill ran through her. It felt strange, almost unreal. Could she really do it? Could she actually go through with something so final? The thought alone was terrifying. But then, she thought of the freedom. A life without him. No more pretending, no more forced conversations. She could start over, take control of her own destiny. The more she thought about it, the more it made sense. But she knew she had to be careful. People would suspect. Everyone saw them as the perfect couple. If something happened to him, she would be the first person they'd look at. She needed a plan. A foolproof plan. And she couldn't do it alone. So, she started looking for help. At first, it was just online searches, harmless enough to anyone who wasn't paying attention. Accidental deaths, undetectable poisons, how to make a murder look like an accident. But she needed more. She needed someone who knew what they were doing. Someone who could make sure there were no loose ends. She reached out to a few people. Some were too nervous, others were unreliable. Then, she found him. A man with no past, no ties, just a reputation for getting things done. It wasn't cheap. But what was money compared to a lifetime of freedom? Their first meeting was short. She told him what she wanted. He didn't ask questions. He just named his price. Half now, half when the job was done. Simple. But there was one problem. She had no way of knowing if she could really trust him. What if he took the money and disappeared? Worse, what if he turned on her? She had to be smart about this. So, she tested him. A small job. Something that would prove he was serious. He did it without hesitation. That was enough for her. She gave him the rest of the details. Her husband's routine, his habits, the perfect time and place. It had to look natural. An accident. A robbery gone wrong. Anything but murder. And then, all she had to do was wait. The waiting was the hardest part. Every day felt like a ticking clock, every glance from her husband like a reminder that soon, he would be gone. She went through the motions, pretending everything was normal. Cooking dinner, smiling at neighbors, even laughing at his jokes. But inside, she was counting down the days. Then, something changed. He started acting differently. He was more careful, more aware. He began locking doors he never used to lock, checking his surroundings more often. At first, she thought it was just paranoia, her own nerves playing tricks on her. But then she noticed the way he looked at her. Like he knew. Like he suspected something. She couldn't afford to panic. If she acted guilty, he would dig deeper. So, she kept up the act. The loving wife. The concerned partner. But inside, her mind raced. Had she made a mistake? Had he found something? One night, he came home late. Too late. She had expected him hours earlier, but he walked in like nothing was wrong. His face was unreadable. He kissed her on the cheek like he always did, but it felt different. There was something behind it. A hesitation. A test. And then he said something that made her blood run cold. "I know what you've been up to." Her heart stopped. She forced a laugh, playing dumb. "What do you mean?" But he didn't smile. He didn't blink. He just stared at her, waiting. The air between them felt heavy, suffocating. She tried to keep her breathing steady, but she could feel her hands trembling. Then, he pulled out his phone. And there it was. Messages. Calls. Proof. He had been watching her. He had seen everything. Her mind spun, searching for a way out. A lie. An excuse. But there was nothing. He knew. He had known for a while. And worst of all, he had been playing along. She opened her mouth to speak, to deny, to beg. But before she could say a word, there was a knock at the door. Police. Everything crashed down around her. The careful planning, the months of secrecy, all of it meant nothing now. She had lost. And he had been one step ahead the whole time. In the end, the perfect crime was never so perfect. No matter how carefully she planned, no matter how much she tried to cover her tracks, the truth had a way of coming to light. Her husband's instincts, his suspicions, and his determination to uncover the truth saved his life. But it also revealed the terrifying reality. Someone he once trusted, someone he once loved, had been plotting his downfall all along. This case is a chilling reminder that danger sometimes comes from the people closest to us. What seemed like a loving marriage was, in reality, a ticking time bomb. And when the truth finally surfaced, justice came knocking. If you enjoyed this story and want more shocking real-life cases, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Your support helps us bring you more gripping stories. Let us know in the comments what you think. Would you have seen the warning signs? Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.